I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
I did a couple videos yesterday about the war that was beginning to start, the things that Donald Trump got us involved in, escalated, and claimed victory. Well, I woke up this morning and saw there was something that he said that he seemed a little bit more frustrated about how things were going. He had multiple posts on Truth Social. Apparently, I read through a couple of them. I'm not sure which order they came in, but he was definitely, he had his hands under his shirt and he was pumping his chest out like he is the man. I broke a ceasefire. How about my Nobel Peace Prize? Let's see what he had to say this morning.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
They don't know what the F they're doing. Donald Trump is pissed. He's mad. I remember another time he was upset. He was mad at Vladimir Putin for continuing to launch rockets and attacks into Ukraine, residential neighborhoods and cities. And he said, Putin has lost his mind. I'm not sure what he's doing. I mean, we always had such a great relationship, and now he's making me look like an idiot. It's one of the few times that he actually realized that. I think this is one of those other times when his other buddy, Benjamin Netanyahu, is making him look like an idiot. He keeps saying things that are supposed to be reality-based, but as we watch it go down, it's not really that. I think he's beginning to figure it out. Yo, nobody respects you. All these friends of yours, they're using you. I remember back in 2015, when this guy came down the escalator and was running his campaign and was beginning to get traction. I remember seeing this report, and I wish I could find it again because I thought it was going to be something that would just kind of stay around, but I haven't been able to find it since. That world leaders, from friends to foes, had this like playbook on Donald Trump. One of them was to butter him up, talk him up, make him feel like you're his best friend, say he's so smart and crazy, strong and powerful, and man, I wish I was you. And he'll give you anything that you want. Butter him up, feed his ego, play him a little bit. He's the easiest guy you'll ever play. It was literally the foreign diplomat's playbook on Donald Trump, and this dude still does it. Yeah, he said they sent the biggest load he's ever seen. Let's go to the next video because as in usual, MAGA Republican fashion, there needs to be backup from some of his buddies, some of the people that continue to make him look like something that he isn't. One of those main players is Mike Johnson.
The president secured a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, and despite of the temporary disruption this morning, we believe that will hold. Peace in the Middle East has never been closer within our grasp, and that is something that we should all embrace and applaud. And we were heartened to see even people on the other side of the aisle, right-thinking, common-sense folks, say that this was the right move. The ceasefire is fragile, but it is very real. I spoke to the president this morning right before Air Force One took off from the tarmac. He's headed over to the NATO meeting, as you all know. And we talked about with the terror, and he told me he had just spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu and encouraged him not to retaliate in any heavy way. And I think that request has been heeded. I told the president that I would immediately echo the same sentiment to my counterpart over there and my good friend, Speaker Ohana and the Knesset. I did that. I believe that Israel and the United States are locked arm in arm on this, and that unified front and that common goal is what is going to maintain peace. So I just want to say overall, this is America First policy in action. This is, as has been said here already this morning, the penultimate demonstration of peace through strength. This is what it means. But you got to have a strong commander in chief to make sure that happens.
Mike Johnson goes in front of cameras all the time and tries to smooth things out. He thinks he's a smooth talker because he's a proposed Christian. So he goes in front of cameras and tries to make disaster situations sound like it's just a disruption. There was a small disruption of tons of bombs being dropped over. Your president said there was loads that he's never seen before, but it was just a slight disruption. And we're right back to following the best deal maker on planet Earth, the best deal maker who's ever lived, the best deal maker who hasn't made a deal yet when it comes to the Ukraine and Russia conflict, the war. I'm sorry, that what he's going to get done in 24 hours. He hasn't made any deals yet on the tariff policy that he's destroying the entire world economy based off, specifically ours, based on. He hasn't made any deals yet, but he's the best deal maker ever. Where's the deals, bro? But as long as they keep saying it, they feel that that'll work out for them enough. Donald Trump was also apparently watching CNN and MSDNC, and he was upset about their coverage.
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
This president is in the middle of a huge conflict that he just got more deeply involved in so that he could say he made peace. And this guy is talking for a minute and a half about how much he hates CNN, the leadership at MSDNC. So this is worst case scenario. This is why he got so upset. You have to read his emotions because he's an emotional guy. He cries a lot. You have to read his emotions. Once he gets mad about one particular thing, it's because there's probably a lot of truth behind it. When he says that's a lie, fake news, constant, it's probably because maybe it wasn't as successful as they're telling us. This is the problem of being a complete liar, and no one really has any reason to believe anything you say. You may have had major success in these strikes, but there's a large percentage of people who have no reason to believe you because you've lied about nearly everything else. So now you're on this shaky ground of your truth, and there's not really any reason for anyone to believe you. Matter of fact, back to Mike Johnson, his ass went on Fox and was confronted with this same issue.
Right now, Mr. Speaker, Reuters is reporting Iran's nuclear chief says we're going to immediately start reconstituting our nuclear program. I mean,
how do you negotiate?
Are you kidding me?
How do you negotiate with that?
It's madness. I mean, we're under no illusion that you can just kill all their nuclear ambition overnight.
But wait a second. We're under no conclusion or thought process, whatever the hell he said, that we can just kill their nuclear program overnight. There was a bunch of posts by MAGA people, including the number one MAGA person, Donald Trump, who said, this isn't a war. We're not getting involved in a war. We went in, we launched a couple of bombs, destroyed their nuclear facilities, and we're out. It's over. It's over. Destructed. They're done. Who cares? We're in and out. Why are you guys talking about war? This isn't a war. We just went there and dropped a couple of bombs and it's over. Bunker busters, they destroyed everything. Everything is rubble. Never going to have anything to do with these guys ever again. They're going to come to the table on their knees and give us everything that we want. So are you under the illusion that you can end it in one night, or are you not? Because you've said both things. And once it's not the case, apparently, according to Mike Johnson, we were never under the illusion that it's going to be over overnight. You know, we have to fight multiple decades-long war. We have to take out and have some regime change. These are things that they say one side of the mouth and go back to the other. He's still talking.
But I think reality has set in over there. We have decimated the upper echelon of their military command, as well as their nuclear scientists. I mean, there's not much left for them to rebuild upon. But the idea that they would put out a statement like that at this fragile moment is very frustrating. It goes to show you why Iran has always been an irrational actor. They're not to be trusted, but we've got to use force. I mean, this is what peace through strength really means. You've got to forge the peace through the exercise of strength. That's what decisive leadership, strong leadership that President Trump has provided here allows the opportunity for.
This is Mike Johnson, Christian Moses Mike Johnson, who speaks slowly and boring and monotone to make sure you don't really hear what he's saying. We're so upset, he just said. This is frustrating. You saw him throw his head back. We're so frustrated, we're going to keep bombing them until they bombed into submission. That's what Moses Mike Johnson wants to do. That's what the Christian Moses Mike Johnson wants to do. But he has to say it like, this is peace through strength. This is the epitome of peace through strength. Peace through strength. Peace through strength. Let's go to Representative Buddy Carter. This is how the Republican Party coalesces around their fascist leader. This is the type of things fascist leaders need. They need people to keep telling them that their false reality that they're telling the rest of the country is a reality. Because if he's the only one doing it, he starts to look like a madman.
And this is the golden age.
It's the golden age.
Look what has happened. The world is safer now. Israel is safer now. The U.S. is safer now. The world is safer now, thanks to a president who understands how to use strength. How to use strength in order to achieve peace.
You guys, it's the golden age. It's the golden age. Israel is safer. The U.S. is safer. Is that why there's cities in Israel? Tel Aviv was getting bombed. Is that why there's tall-rise apartment buildings getting bombed? Because Israel is safer and because the U.S. is safer? Is that why when he launched those bombs, there was a bunch of security trucks and they had a larger perimeter around this Capitol and the White House? Is that why? Because everybody's safer because of peace through strength? Let's just call it what it is. Anytime any of these politicians, I don't care, Democrat or Republican, because by the way, there's plenty of Democrats that are on board once we start bombing other countries. When they call peace through strength, it just means we're bombing people and we expect them to eventually drop to their knees and give us anything that we want. That's peace through strength. The beat goes on. Ted Cruz, who remember got his ass handed to him by Tucker Carlson, he's for some reason gone back on TV with his face getting kicked in.
Assess the president's leadership on all of this and what has taken place. How do you see things?
Well, I think President Trump's leadership has been extraordinary. It has been clear-eyed.
That's one part I forgot to mention from the other ass kisser. I already forgot his name. Buddy Carter. The first thing you have to say, or it has to be within the first phrase. Whatever it is that you're about to push, whatever propaganda you're going to push, you have to include because of the strong, resolved leadership of Donald Trump, because of the steel jaw of Donald Trump, because of the great negotiating tactics of Donald Trump, because of the great brain of Donald Trump. They always have to have some kind of connection to how he's made this great thing that they're about to lie about happen. God, he's such a lackey.
He has stood unshakably alongside our friend and ally, the state of Israel, and he acted decisively this weekend to take out Iran's nuclear capability. The military attack that our soldiers carried out was incredibly effective. We had 7 B-2 stealth bombers that dropped a total of 14 bunker buster bombs on 3 nuclear facilities. Annihilated those nuclear facilities and made it home safely with no casualties whatsoever. That was clear. That was decisive.
Politicians go on cable news to get a line across. This is not just Republicans. You go on and be like, I need to get this point across, and enough people are watching at this particular show so I can convey this one message. The only message Ted Cruz had there was Donald Trump is my dad. And then number 2, the effectiveness of these bunker buster 14 bombs that we dropped on these facilities was incredibly effective. Nothing's been more effective ever seen in life. So again, you may want to believe it, but there's a problem with believing people who've never told the truth. So maybe it did. I don't know. I'm not hanging out in Iran. I don't know about the nuclear facilities. I don't know how deep the bunkers go. I don't know if these bombs landed so directly that it destroyed them all. I have no idea. But I do know that Ted Cruz is an extreme liar, and he follows by the biggest liar, the only liar that's bigger than him, Donald Trump. Kisses his ass, has a nice whiff of his anus every time. Think about what we've been talking about. The effectiveness of these bombs to destroy these nuclear facilities, which was the whole purpose, they said, not to follow Benjamin Netanyahu into another war and regime change that he wants to take care of before he then goes into another Middle Eastern country and then another Middle Eastern country. The whole purpose was to do that, go in and go out and get away, because these terrorists have a nuke 2 days away from a nuke. Every 5 years, they're 2 days away from a nuke. Every year, they're another 2 days away from their nuke. So since we've been so close to this and they've destroyed everything, everything is great, everything's wonderful. The best president in the history of the United States just conducted the best airstrike attack ever. In fact, he was flying the damn B-2 bombers. He was in there because he's stealth. So that's the case that's been made. but they still need to have this fear mongering in effect. They still need to make you feel like you still should be afraid so you can continue to support whatever future strikes and wars they want to get involved in. So John Berman on CNN asked, I love John Berman. He actually does good work. I like the way he does stuff. I think he flies under the radar for anchors. So he asks these very logical questions. And you guys know I always say this. When someone's telling you, politicians or people that are pushing for politicians tell you one particular thing, be like, oh, really? When did that happen? Why? What is it that happened? Make them explain it, because eventually they're going to get to this lack of reality in their argument.
They can have no nuclear capability that's not for civilian purposes, and none of this has ever been for civilian purposes.
But they still do have enriched uranium, you think, that is not for civilian purposes?
I suspect that it's hard to say, but we'll put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised if some of it still exists.
And they are still a terrorist regime, in your mind?
They absolutely are. They have never changed since the day the Ayatollah took over, and they threaten their neighbors, not only in the region, but around the world. That has been their history. That's who they are.
So after these 12 days, there is still a terrorist regime in power with enriched uranium.
That is absolutely true. Yeah, I think that's a correct characterization.
Is that good?
Is that a good thing, bro?
No, of course it's not good. But again, the goal for the United States of America is to make sure that they can't do anything with that enriched uranium.
Really? So is that a good thing? He just went through the whole gauntlet. Yo, this is still a terrorist state with enriched uranium. I wouldn't be surprised they have enriched uranium, because, we want to keep being able to have that, be able to play that card that we keep playing for the past 30 years. We keep playing that card, so I can't let it go. So isn't that a bad thing that your operation that apparently ended the whole problem still exists? The problem's still there. You just said it. Isn't that a problem, bro? Well, yeah, yeah, it's still a problem, but that's why we have to keep doing what we said we don't have to keep doing. Liars can't fully explain it all away if you ask them enough questions. This is just what we're seeing in front of us. And hopefully more people will ask them the questions.